Joining us now with stories around the world is OjyOkpe. Hello, Junix.
Good morning, Dr. Abati. How are you this morning?
Yeah.
Good morning, Ayomide. I missed you. I feel like I'm so far away from you all the time. Good morning, Bimbai. How are you this morning?
Very well, and
Fantastic.
yourself?
I'm doing okay. Very well. Thank you. Well, good morning to you, viewers. Let's begin what's trending by highlighting Pope Leo XIV, who has concluded his historic visit to Turkey and Lebanon, where he promoted interfaith dialogue in a region torn by sectarian conflict. It was his first overseas trip as Catholic leader. At the end of his visit to Lebanon, the Pope prayed with survivors of the devastating 2020 Beirut explosion, offering blessings and solidarity to those affected by the disaster that killed over 200 people. While in Turkey, Pope Leo commemorated the 1,700th anniversary of the Council of Nicaea on November 28th and visited the iconic Blue Mosque in Istanbul. But unlike his predecessors who observed silent prayer, he opted not to pray there, instead touring the 17th century site quietly. The Pope's visit was marked by several notable diplomatic decisions that signaled a more cautious approach to interfaith relations. What a historic moment. Pope Leo's visit was carefully calibrated to avoid controversy. He praised Turkey's Armenian Christian minority, but deliberately avoided describing their World War I massacre as a genocide, a word Pope Francis used that caused lasting diplomatic tensions with Turkey. In Lebanon, despite Hezbollah supporters lining the streets and urging him to condemn Israel's offensive, the Pope declined to oblige, although he did call for a two-state solution to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. These diplomatic maneuvers show Pope Leo walking a delicate tightrope, promoting Christian unity and interfaith dialogue, while avoiding inflammatory language that could complicate the Vatican's relations with Muslim-majority nations in a volatile region, as he did with Nigeria. I had come to you on the story. I know if you recall, we took the story, I believe, 2 weeks ago when the Pope intervened with the conversation while he was speaking with journalists, saying, you know, this crisis in Nigeria affects all. Yeah. And he did particularly say that Christians were being killed, but it is a deeper conflict. Yeah. And you could see that he did the same while he was visiting, you know, this sectarian region that is really being troubled. Like I highlighted about Pope Francis and, you know, his stance with, you know, the World War I, calling it, you know, a genocide. It was a far departure from this Pope that we see.
So with each Pope comes each priority area or how they hope to present themselves. The Pope is one of the most powerful figures in the world, not just spiritually, but as we have seen even with regards to diplomatic issues. Now, this is because the Pope is the leader of the largest Christian group in the world, the Catholic faith, and is held in very high esteem. Since his assumption, or since he's assuming this position, he has consistently pushed for peace, dialogue. He has demonstrated or presented himself as a diplomat. You drew from his statement on the Nigerian incident how he tries to stay in the middle and still in his messaging push for peace and sue for peace. That Turkey visit, the 6-day visit, was very important. I mean, Turkey is largely, has a population of largely Muslims, but he was able to, whilst visiting and acknowledging the Christian population there, but also visited some mosques, pushing the message of peace. And I think the main symbolism of what he did in his country trip was on religious tolerance and unity. unity amongst different faiths. And I think more than ever now across the world, not just in Nigeria, where there's a lot of polarity, issues, frictions along religious lines, we need figures like this who can play that role of diplomacy and speak in a diplomatic fashion. However, the danger of this is that, like you mentioned and compared him to a previous Pope, Pope Francis, he could also be accused of being too middle, and shying away from the real issues and not defending his faith. But I believe that at a time like this, and based on the position that he holds, that language of tolerance, dialogue, diplomatic dialogue is perhaps the best position to take at this time. It was also symbolic that he went to Lebanon. You talked about the Beirut airstrike attack and the fact that he had consistently called against any form of war and violence without pinpointing it to a particular nation or the other. So yes, he's done very well. So far, so good. The first American Pope as a diplomatic figure on the world stage.
Well said, Ayo. We always call on this table for world peace. Well, in Nigeria, reactions are trailing President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's nomination of former Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, as the new Minister of Defense, replacing Mohammed Badaru Abubakar, who resigned on Monday, citing health reasons. The nomination comes less than 24 hours after General Musa met privately with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu at the State House on Monday evening. In a letter to the Senate, the president expressed confidence in General Musa, stating that he would bring renewed leadership to the Defense Ministry at a time the government has declared a national security emergency. Well, in an interview with Al Jazeera, which has resurfaced online, General Musa gave his insights on the insecurity plaguing the nation and the Boko Haram crisis, saying that it might be linked to an international conspiracy. Let's take a look.
We've seen Boko Haram regroup, and regroup, and regroup. What is your answer to that? That you have in some way fed the insurgents?
The problem is that I think we've talked to the international community. Let's find out the funding. When they started surrendering, by the time we left, so as we speak, we have over 120,000 that have surrendered. Most of them, when you find them, they are coming with hard currencies. How did they get them? How are they funded? How did they get the training? How did they get the equipment?
What is your suspicion?
Well, maybe an international conspiracy, you don't know. Who knows? How are they be able to sustain themselves for 15 years? That is one question I think everybody should ask himself. For Nigeria to be able to hold them, so the UN need to come in to ensure that, because we need to trace the funding. How are they sustaining themselves for 15 years?
What does the UN coming in mean? What does that look like?
Track the funding. It's international flow. We don't have control over that.
All right. Often we've spoken about these people that are funding terrorists. I mean, this was a video that began circulating on social media again. I'd say at this moment, congratulations to Christopher Musa. I believe that he will be cleared because obviously, cleared by the Senate, because obviously he has such an amazing resume. And I'll take a tweet on X. This person wrote, with a resume built on frontline leadership, multinational coordination, and years of counterinsurgency command, General Musa's record already sets the bar for what Nigerians expect from the Defense Ministry. His profile speaks of discipline, strategy, and results. Now, the nation will be watching to see these same qualities translate into a stronger, safer Nigeria. May Nigeria succeed. Meanwhile, Kaduna State Governor Uba Sani has congratulated General Musa on his nomination as Minister of Defense, describing it as an honor to the people of Kaduna State. In a post on X, Governor Sani hailed General Musa, who is a Kaduna indigene, as a patriot and described the appointment as a round peg in a round hole, noting that Musa's tenure as Chief of Defense Staff was marked by uncommon discipline, strategic clarity, and humane leadership. And I'll read the Kaduna State Governor's post on X in part. He wrote, I express my sincere gratitude to President Tinubu for this gesture, not only to General Musa as an outstanding officer of the Nigerian Army, but also to the good people of Kaduna State who hold him in the highest esteem. For us in Kaduna State, General Musa's nomination evokes deep gratitude. Since May 2023, he has been a steadfast ally to our quest to secure Every community across our state, his wise counsel, measured interventions, and firm support were instrumental in stabilizing areas once troubled by banditry and insurgent activity. The modest yet significant gains we have recorded in security bear his enduring imprint. His gallantry, particularly in critical theaters of operation across the country, has contributed immensely to safeguarding Nigeria's territorial integrity. Well, you know, this endorsement from Governor Uba Sani is significant because Kaduna State has been one of the worst hit by banditry, kidnapping, and insurgency in recent years. His first-hand testimony about General Musa's effectiveness in helping stabilize troubled areas in Kaduna State adds credibility to the nomination beyond just military credentials. Well, meanwhile, a video of General Musa delivering a powerful testimony about Nigeria's resilience and his belief in the nation's ability to prevail despite the surge of terrorism has resurfaced online. In the testimony delivered in May of this year, Musa talks about his marriage, describing his wife as his pillar and a prayer warrior. He also spoke on the crisis in the Sahel and West Africa, saying jihadists are hell-bent on taking over Nigeria. Let's take a look.
I grew up in the church. I was born and raised in Sokoto. My wife, born and raised in Delta State. She's my pillar. She is a prayer warrior, and because she has learned from mommy. I want to say thank you to this congregation, and thank you, Daddy and Mommy, for bringing this together. The Sahelian region and West Africa is facing unprecedented challenges by the jihadists, and they are hell-bent on taking over. God will never allow them to succeed. But we need our prayers. As Christians, we need to pray consistently and ceaselessly to ensure that this country remains one and the same. And we will continue to prevail.
It's good to see General Musa this way. I never knew he was such a prayer warrior. And it's good to see his, inter-ethnic relations with his wife at this point, which is something that we embrace in Nigeria. Musa also touched on how prayers have made a difference in his life ever since his Maduguri days when he was fighting Boko Haram as a theater commander. Congratulations are in order again, I will say. Dr. Abati, your thoughts?
Yes, congratulations are in order. And I think that Governor Uba Sani of Kaduna State struck all the right notes. General Musa is one of the icons that Kaduna State has contributed to this country in terms of service, in terms of gallantry, in terms of commitment, in terms of, inspiring the younger generation, not just from that state, but also within the military. He started as an infantry officer, and he rose from an infantry officer to the rank of a general, and also became the chief of defense staff in this country. He has seen action in Operation Lafiya Dole. He was also involved in the Lake Chad region operations. He was commander at Operation Adinkai, and then he became chief of defense staff. And as chief of defense staff, he was known for his pragmatism and his commitment to the assignment that he was given. So his governor is proud, and is legitimately proud to say, well, this Musa is one of our own. He's from our area. Now he's going to serve Nigeria, and we thank President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Generally, those who know him very well say that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has appointed a round peg in a round hole. Now, the weight of expectations is very high, and that is why I think that General Musa, as he steps into this role, must also know that Nigerians expect a lot from him. His governor may have commended him and thanked the president. It also means that the people of Kaduna State also expect him to continue to carry their flag very high. He knows the assignment. It's the same assignment that he just stepped down from. It's just that he has moved from being chief of defense staff to now chief of defense, in which capacity all the armed forces will be responsible to him, not just for budget, but also for direction. And the fact that he's from that community is also a very clever move, by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, because he will understand their language, and operations, can be much easier in that regard. As to the fact that is very religious, well, there are people who say it is not just by kinetic, you also need non-kinetic. So at a personal level,
yes.
Having a prayer warrior wife is part of that non-kinetic.
Non-kinetic.
Yes,
absolutely.
Okay. So, if you have a tough job, like this one we are doing too, for example, and you have prayer warriors around you, then of course, it's easier.
Well,
but
right.
I'll rest my case on the point about, expectations. He made a point about international conspiracy.
Yes, that's important.
There's something called global terrorism.
Yes.
And part of the problem with global terrorism is international terrorism financing, which is cross-border, which is international. And yes, there is a conspiracy. After all, this is Nigeria. We're talking about ISWAP. We're talking about Boko Haram having affiliations at a time to Al-Qaeda. Yeah. So that in itself shows, that there is an international conspiracy involved. And which was why the United Nations began to track, illicit international flow of funds being diverted to commit atrocities and to compromise the cause of democracy in the world. But we welcome him to the office, and he should just... Every day he wants to pray. Right. Remember that he has an assignment, that is placed on the rostrum of high expectations.
Fantastic.
From Nigerians, from the president, and also from the international community, and more importantly, from his home state.
Well said.
We expect him to succeed.
Well said. Congratulations, General Christopher Musa. Meanwhile, a 2021 video featuring the Minister of State for Defense and former governor of Zamfara State, Bello Matawalle, stating that not all bandits or criminals has resurfaced online, sparking controversy. Speaking with journalists at the Aso Rock Villa, Matawalle claimed that some bandits take the law into their own hands because they are ill-treated by vigilante groups who go to their settlements, destroy property, and take their animals, leading to reprisal attacks. Let's take a look.
It's the same, and it's not all of them are criminal. Not all of them are criminal, because if you know, or maybe if you investigate what is happening or what makes them to take those laws into their hand, some of them sometimes were cheated by so-called Nsakai, and I have to ban completely the Nsakai in my state. The Nsakai, those called vigilante group, who normally went to their settlement, destroy their property and take their animals. So, they doesn't have anyone to speak with. So sometimes they are going for revenge. Like if Ntsake attack them, so they will go for reprisals. So that is what exactly happening. And some of them are living in a settlement where close to a village or town, and they sometimes if there is maybe operation, military operation, the military will go and destroy their properties and their animals. So they are angry with such actions sometimes. So sometimes if you are talking to them, you can understand where they are coming from and you can understand their problems. So it is important we as leaders to sit down with those people to understand what is the genesis first. You can't just, jump and conclude that the person is a criminal. You have to listen to him. What makes him to go into that activities? So this is what to do. So they are not all of them. It's not all Fulani are criminals. Some are good citizens, but due to some circumstances, they subscribe to such a criminality.
You can't say all of them are criminals. This video of Matawalle has been widely criticized by Nigerians who argue that regardless of any grievances, bandits terrorizing communities kidnapping innocent people and destroying lives and property cannot be justified or excused under any circumstances. The resurfacing of this video is particularly significant as it raises questions about his approach to tackling terrorism, given his position as Minister of State for Defense. Vimbai, I'll come to you on the story. I'd like to just, juxtapose the two stories at this point. We're seeing a minister talking about criminals and saying that not all of them are criminals. I mean, how do you even justify that?
And Oji, and you also have to add the dimension of the fact that he's, former governor of Zamfara State, and that the current governor of Zamfara State has raised several complaints and concerns about the fact that he's been trying to get collaboration and assistance to deal with banditry, insurgency, criminality in his state, but it's falling on deaf ears. And you ask yourself, well, if this is the person who is part of the people at the helm of affairs with regards to defense issues, and you look at somebody like General Christopher Musa, who is being praised for the collaborative element that he brought to his home state. And then you look at this gentleman who, in all intents and purposes, seems to have abandoned the security issues of his state. And why is that? Because he's chosen to sanitize banditry, criminality, and insurgency. We cannot sanitize criminality. Now, there is the psychology of crime. And yes, that's a very interesting, shall I say it, school of thought to venture into. However, if that is what the minister is passionate about, that's something maybe he can fund research for criminals who have been prosecuted, convicted, and incarcerated. Those studies happen from the confines of prison. We cannot continue to treat people who are perpetuating all manner of crimes, terrorist activities, from abducting school children, you hear stories of pregnant women, vulnerable, soft targets living in fear. People have been displaced. And in all of this, we're trying to create a narrative where the perpetrators of this crime are the victims. They are not the victims in this. Like I said, there is the psychology of criminality, which is something that people can pursue in their own time. And if they want to make investment into, the study of all of that, everybody is welcome to do so. But that's something that you study from people who are inside prison. They're incarcerated because they felt the full wrath of the law. Now, what are the three things that are currently on the table? Number one, people are saying these groups must be disarmed. Number two, people are saying we need to see displaced people going back home. And number three, which really ties in directly to this, is let's see the prosecution of these people. We're no longer in the realm of explaining away these problems when they are posing daily, not just an existential threat to these communities and these states, but it's now becoming an existential threat to Nigeria as a whole. So this type of rhetoric and body language, I feel, has no place in this rejigging of security infrastructure that our president is doing at the moment.
Meanwhile, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu launched the emblem, an appeal fund for the 2026 Armed Forces Remembrance Day at the State House in Abuja on Tuesday, honoring fallen heroes and serving troops who are confronting security challenges across Nigeria. Tinubu praised the armed forces for their exceptional courage and stated that their resilience is the foundation of Nigeria's freedom and unity, while committing to bolstering military welfare, including new programs to reclaim ungoverned spaces. During the ceremony, the president was decorated with the Remembrance Poppy alongside other top government officials and donated 200 million naira to the Nigerian Legion, assuring more attention to the well-being of the military, injured officers, and the families of fallen heroes. The president's commitment was echoed by a 100 million naira donation from Senate President Godswill Akpabio and Deputy Speaker of the House, Benjamin Kalu, on behalf of the National Assembly, and a 20 million naira donation from FCT Minister Nyesom Wike.
For the first time that a female is coming in to be a chairman of Nigerian Legion, you know what it means when a woman is in a place. I'm pleading on behalf of the veterans, on behalf of the widows, on behalf of those still in the bush. They don't know whether they are coming back home or not, that they should please wear the emblem and donate for them.
Tinubu also directed government institutions and individuals to donate generously to the Legion, which caters to retirees and widows of fallen military heroes. Like I said, it's a great gesture. However, while President Tinubu's 200 million naira donation and commitment to military welfare is commendable, the administration must match the commitment with sustained structural reforms, ensuring every soldier and their family receives dignified treatment, not just on Remembrance Day, but every day. Nigerian soldiers are on the front lines daily, confronting Boko Haram bandits and kidnappers, terrorists. Yet, we often see veterans and families of fallen heroes consistently complain about delayed benefits and bureaucratic bottlenecks. So we hope this would really be a turning point for our armed forces and veterans. The Armed Forces Remembrance Day, I believe, is January 15, and we remember them for, you know, some of their impact. Some of them have fought in world wars as well, and also the Nigerian Civil War. So, I mean, I do commend the president for this actual move and all of the donations that have been made so far. I think I also remember, or I heard our State House correspondent talking about a platform that, you know, Thank a Soldier platform that Nigerians can visit as well. Dr. Abati.
Okay, very quickly. Let me start with Matawale. It's straightforward. The context is what is important. In 2021 or thereabouts, I think it was still a governor of Zamfara State. And then in February of that year, he had visited President Muhammadu Buhari. And it was on that occasion that he made the statement that not all bandits are criminals. He also said not all Fulanis are criminals. I agree with that second statement, that it's not all Fulanis that are criminals, because we always condemn the stereotyping, the ethnic profiling of Fulanis.
It's something that we have to learn how
because there are criminals in every community,
in every culture,
wherever you go in Nigeria. But this is a statement about all bandits are not criminals. They are doing reprisal attack because vigilante groups do not treat them well and all of that. Well, you know, English is a second language for many Nigerians, and particularly African leaders.
What was he trying to say?
Even the ones who studied abroad.
Okay.
So if you look at the dictionary, a bandit, I believe, is an outlaw. He's a lawless person.
Yes.
He's somebody who breaks laws. Who is that?
He's a criminal.
He's a criminal.
A complete criminal.
Yeah, but you see, this is why even when you say you have gone to university in Nigeria or wherever, when you want to go to US, they'll say you must come and take test of English as a second language.
Yes.
There seems to be a received opinion that whether you're a bandit or you're a terrorist or you are an insurgent, as long as you engage in any lawless behavior, you are a criminal.
That's it.
Now, but under the Buhari administration, they were mollycoddling bandits, insurgents, giving them ashwebi, preparing jollof rice for criminals who should be arrested.
Yes.
So maybe that's what influenced him. Now that he's Minister of State for Defense, maybe we have a different opinion to justify his new position.
Well, I hope
However, what we have seen under the Tinubu administration is that the Tinubu administration says it will not pay ransom. It will not mollycoddle. Whoever you are, once you go against the law, you are a criminal.
Right.
However, under this same Tinubu administration, we have seen some government officials, you know, romancing with terrorists, like Honorable Engineer Kandarawa from Bakori local government area of Katsina State, who met with notorious bandits that the defense headquarters is looking for.
Correct.
And he said he was going to rescue 37 children. That's a man that should have been handed over to the defense headquarters immediately.
Well
but
said,
you see,
Dr.
these contradictions we deal with. Now, on the issue
Dr.
of armed forces.
No, we've discussed that. Can we take this two-faced story? Otherwise, we won't be able to take it.
You want a romantic...
We've discussed the armed forces. Good one on President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Now, let's take this story, and it's based on popular demand. Legendary Nigerian artist Tubaba, also known as Two-Face Idibia, is currently trending on social media following reports of his arrest in the United Kingdom last month after a serious altercation involving his new partner, Edo State lawmaker Natasha Osawaru. The couple allegedly began the argument at Gatwick Airport before finishing it at a store where they were both arrested for public nuisance. The surfacing video directly contradicts Tubaba's earlier denial via social media that his failure to perform at a UK event on October 2nd was due to a sudden health issue, as rumors at the time had suggested he was arrested. The public drama, which included Natasha yelling that she was pregnant for Tubaba during a fight, and the couple taking their dispute to media personality Daddy Freeze's Instagram Live, has gone viral on social media. Let's take a look.
Don't do that! Don't do that! Don't do it! Don't do it! Everything going to start from me. What did you have? And don't do that! Why are you shouting at me? I just want to quiet this conversation. Why are you raising your voice at me? Then you want to do that!
Person has got some civil issues, not so good. It's done. You don't put the guy in the past. There's a misunderstanding. Bro, all of this is that's fine. Outside, but we travel on this vehicle. Yeah, we travel on this vehicle together, but we just came out here and went to start accommodation. Yes?
Apparently, I want to have a conversation, but I need someone to go with here.
Don't worry. I'll sort that out. Don't worry. They just question you. Just don't say nothing.
Fuck no, man.
Well, despite the public drama, the couple has continued to post happily about each other on social media. However, fans have commented that Tubaba left his African queen for an African warrior, highlighting the stark contrast between his previous marriage to Annie Idibia and this explosive new relationship. Some have alleged that this may be a carefully orchestrated publicity stunt designed to promote an album. And Ayo Vimbai, Dr. Abati, I don't think we'll have time to take our good news report. I want us to quickly discuss this. We have seen this video. I mean, Tubaba is our international star, our international superstar. Yeah. But you've seen their videos, their romantic videos coming up online at this moment. Tubaba has not come out to debunk anything at this point. Your thoughts on the story?
Okay, first of all, he's a legend.
Complete legend.
He just turned 50, celebrated, I believe, 20 years on stage. A number of celebrities today who are on the world stage refer to him and give him the honor that's due to him. So it's very sad to see such a legend being, used as fodder for conversation on social media. But I think this points to what we've seen in recent times, whether from Senator Ned Nwoko and other public figures like this, is around the institution of marriage, and that there is a big conversation around what happens within and how it can escalate and actually undo years of work and reputation that you've built over the years. The truth is that when it comes to marriage, what happens inside, you don't know the true story until you hear the one side, the other side, and then the truth. But I believe that, there was an issue around domestic violence. That's him being handcuffed there, and the video was leaked. But beyond this are serious issues. Number one is that the person in question, one of the people in question, is a lawmaker in Edo State.
Yes.
There are serious accusations around drugs. We should not take these things lightly. They should be investigated. And then 3 is about role modeling. Yes, celebrities say that I didn't call myself, I didn't ask anybody to look up to me. But the truth is that when you achieve a certain status, people do look up to you. What kind of role modeling do we have in the name of celebrities that we have, currently? So these are some critical issues. And finally, on this point, don't envy what you are not party to. Some people have looked at them and God when. I saw a comment that somebody said, I said God when I saw their video. Father, God on when, please. I'm not winning on anyone. But I'm not laughing at them, but it's a sad situation and I pray that they will resolve it.
When? I don't even know.
That, people say God when, do my own. So okay. God don't when, no.
I see. Vimbai, your thoughts quickly. So
She's
Dr.
postpartum, isn't she?
Yeah.
Just a totally different angle. There is such a thing as postpartum rage.
Yes.
Postpartum comes in different forms. Some people get depressed. Some people actually become extremely aggressive and enraged. I don't know the details. I don't really care to know the details of what happens in their relationship. But I just thought, for the sake of public interest, that, postpartum rage does exist. It is a thing. I'm not enabling or excusing bad behavior. But women do go through a lot psychologically after giving birth. So that's my two take.
Very quickly. How or why Innocent Dibia, popularly known as Two-Face, went from African queen to African warrior. It's his personal business. So I don't want to inquire into what people do, in their private lives. However, the conduct of Honorable Natasha Osawaru is what the Edo State House of Assembly is summoning her for. And Blessing Agbebaku, that's the name of the Speaker of the House, says her conduct in recent times has been exposing the Edo State House of Assembly to disrepute, that they find her conduct embarrassing, and that she should come and explain herself why disciplinary actions should not be taken against her. So it's about ethics for them. It's about decorum for the Edo State House of Assembly. I think that's an important part of it. But as for whether African queen or African warrior or, Innocent Dibia's libido, no, that's off limits for me.
I didn't hear the last word you said. Well, all right. Okay, I mean, well, we pray for, some sort of revelation at the end of the day, and then, they should hopefully come back together because, I don't know. What can I say?
They'll be fine.
I'd like to thank you. They'll be fine, right? Okay, good assurance. I've seen loved up videos at the end of the day. Last, they'll be fine. I'd love to thank you all for your great analysis, as always, on What's Trending. I hope our viewers are now satisfied. Well, that's all I have for you guys on What's Trending today. I'll see you all tomorrow.